The story begins in Shanghai City. Inside a quiet room, a woman with blue-green hair, Jiang Wangxin, is gently breastfeeding her newborn son. Smiling softly, she tells her baby, Chin Chin, that he is lucky to only eat and sleep, while she herself loses sleep taking care of him. Still, she says it's worth it if he grows up healthy. What Jiang Wangxin doesn't know is that her child is no ordinary infant. Chin Chin, though only a newborn, carries the consciousness of his former life. As he feeds, he observes that his brain is not fully developed, yet his awareness remains intact. Suddenly, a blue, game-like status screen appears before him. It identifies him as Lin Zikin, 33 days old, with a biological level of ordinary Tier 1. Realizing he possesses a unique cheat ability, he knows his second life will be far from ordinary. At 3 months old, Lin Zikin lies in his crib while his parents, Zhang Wanin and Lin Yin, watch over him. His father comments on how physically gifted the baby already seems, suggesting that one day he could grow into a mighty gene fuser, or at the very least, a cyborg. While they talk, the baby continues kicking. At that exact moment, a system notification appears. He has kicked 10,000 times, earning him a skill biological attribute use and advance. This ability allows any part of his body he trains to grow infinitely stronger within carbon-based limits. Feeling his strength grow, he wonders what his father meant by gene fusers and cyborgs, imagining superheroes from his past life. By 4 months old, Lin Zikin has learned to sit up and crawl. To avoid alarming his parents with his unusually fast progress, he trains only at night. Each movement earns him rewards from the system. A month later, at 5 months, he has already mastered walking. By 6 months, he can crawl and sit naturally in front of his parents without drawing suspicion. One evening, while the family watches television, a news report plays showing aberrant beasts wreaking havoc. Gene fusers and cyborgs are seen joining forces to fight them. For the first time, Lin Zikin realizes this new world is nothing like the one he once knew. Earth has mutated, giving rise to terrifying creatures known as aberrant beasts. To combat them, humanity developed 2 paths: mechanical ascension, where humans enhance themselves with technology to become cyborgs, and gene modification, where humans fuse their genes with those of aberrant beasts to gain power. Aware of these dangers, Lin Zikin resolves to grow stronger through his system while staying low-key, determined to survive in this perilous world. Not long after, the doorbell rings. Jiang Wangxin answers to find a woman in a blue dress, Xu Ming, standing with her family. Xu Ming introduces her husband, Shun Zany, and their young daughter, Shinqing Han, who clutches a doll tightly. Lin Zikin notices the little girl's purple hair and, sensing something unique about her, acknowledges her as his first friend in this new world. Deep down, he feels that their destinies will be closely connected. Time moves forward, and Lin Zikin dedicates himself to training. At 7 months old, thanks to his ability, he has already mastered running, jumping, and even basic language, which he practices by talking to himself. Each new skill earns him more stat points. By 8 months, he is secretly doing sit-ups and push-ups in his crib, careful to train only when his parents are not watching. One day, however, his mother steps onto the balcony and is stunned to see her 8-month-old son doing sit-ups. She rubs her eyes, thinking she must be hallucinating from overwork, and dismisses it. Lin Zikin quickly pretends to be asleep, relieved his secret isn't discovered. A few days later, during bath time, Jiang Wangxin notices something shocking. Her baby has defined abs. Alarmed, she calls for her husband. When Lin Yin sees this, he is stunned, but quickly concludes that their son must be a rare prodigy with great potential to become a gene fuser or cyborg. Hearing their interpretation, Lin Zikin feels reassured that his secret remains safe. As he reflects, he realizes how fortunate he is to have 2 web novel authors for parents, people who would naturally see the unusual as inspiration rather than a threat. Still, he understands he is not the only genius in this world. News reports highlight a 2-year-old from a martial arts family who can lift a 20-kilogram dumbbell with ease. Watching this with her son, Jiang Wangxin proudly pulls him close, declaring that her Chun-Shin is just as amazing. Touched by her confidence, Lin Zikin wonders if he too will be able to lift 20 kilos by the time he turns 2. By his second birthday, his training has paid off. While keeping his progress hidden, he has grown strong enough to casually lift a 20-kilogram weight with one hand in the storage room. In the middle of practice, his mother calls out that Han Han, Shin Han's nickname, has come to play. Startled, he sets the weight down and heads for the door. Opening it, he finds Shin Han, now also 2 years old, smiling as she offers him a tart. Lin Zikin often reflects on how a different playtime feels compared to other children. Because of their mental age gap, he and Shin Han never play in the conventional sense. While she behaves like a typical toddler, he uses every moment together as an opportunity for training. Since Han Han insists on sticking close to him, he cleverly treats her as a customized weighted vest during his exercises. There is, however, one constant problem. Each time he feels sudden warmth spreading against him, he realizes she has once again peed on him, leaving him no choice but to call out in frustration. Time passes, and by the age of 3, Zikin's strength has grown remarkably. He can now lift a 40-kilogram weight with one hand. One day while watching television, he sees a report about a 4-year-old prodigy lifting 30 kilograms. Quietly satisfied, he acknowledges that he is already stronger. Yet, despite his rapid progress, his system still lists him as ordinary Tier 1. He can't help but wonder what is required to reach Tier 2. With these questions in mind, he steps outside his home for the very first time. The sight before him is extraordinary, a futuristic cityscape alive with towering buildings, beastmen, and cyborgs. He assumes these must be the gene fusers and cyborgs he has heard so much about. Together with his mother and their neighbors, Shu Ming and Shin Han, he makes his way to the library. Since his parents don't allow him to use electronic devices, books remain his most reliable source of knowledge. Once inside, his mother directs him toward the children's section, but instead he heads straight to the shelves of advanced encyclopedias, with Han Han trailing nervously after him. Their mothers watch in confusion. Shu Ming wonders aloud why he prefers such books, while Jiang Wangshin speculates that it must be his genius genes. As Han Han offers him cookies, Zikin remains absorbed in his reading. Through these books, he discovers how all life is classified into 6 biological levels: ordinary, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythical. Each level is further divided into 9 tiers. He quickly realizes that humans like his parents are at the very bottom, ordinary Tier 1, as insignificant as ants compared to higher-level beings. This knowledge ignites a strong determination within him. He must train harder while maintaining his cover. It is then that his system presents a new quest. Read 100 million characters to obtain the celestial root of wisdom. Excited at the chance to strengthen both mind and body, he immediately accepts. For the next year, Zikin divides his time between rigorous physical training and relentless reading. At age 4, he and Shin Han begin kindergarten, walking hand in hand with their teacher, Miss Jiangmi. His persistence pays off. Not long after starting school, he finally breaks through to ordinary Tier 2. His physical strength is now astounding. He can lift an 80-kilogram weight with one hand, jump 1.2 meters high, and sprint 100 meters in under 11 seconds. Feats that would impress even an adult, let alone a kindergartner. One day, he comes across a group of children surrounding Han Han, taunting her and calling her a bedwetter. Seeing her in tears, he knows he must step in. Leaping boldly into the circle, he glares at the bullies and issues a threat. If they ever trouble her again, he will pee on their beds every single day. The warning, childish yet terrifying in its own way, is enough to break them. The bullies cry in fear and vow never to return to kindergarten. Shin Han looks up at him with admiration, grateful for her protector. The system immediately rewards him with a new achievement, Kindergarten Kid King, along with a fresh series of quests. Delighted, he realizes he can now work on multiple challenges at once. 6 months later, he completes his massive reading quest. Having consumed 100 million characters, he receives the celestial root of wisdom, which grants him perfect eidetic memory and peak human learning ability. Time continues to pass, and As Zikin and Han Han approach the age of 7, they pose together for their kindergarten graduation photo. Even during the vacation that follows, Zikin refuses to rest. His training pushes new limits. He is now strong enough to lift a massive 200-kilogram barbell. His abilities soar higher than ever. He can leap over 2 meters in a single bound and has broken the 8-second barrier in the 100-meter dash, clocking in at 7.98 seconds. With his new attribute boosting his mind, Lin Zikin's intellect grew sharper than ever. By this point, he had already completed most of the elementary school curriculum on his own. His new chapter of life began at Sunshine Elementary School. Since he was already self-studying advanced subjects, academic competitions posed no challenge to him. He breezed through them, even taking first place at the National Elementary School academic competition. For him, this was less about recognition and more about unlocking the system's titles as quickly as possible. Outside of his own studies, Zikin often devoted his free time to tutoring Shinxing Han. Although she wasn't exceptionally gifted, her diligence made up for it. With his guidance, her grades improved rapidly, and by the end of the first semester, she was ranked second in their class, right behind Zikin, who held first place. To accelerate his system quests, he didn't stop at academics. He also participated in school sports meets, where he broke record after record with ease. Life at school seemed destined to follow this predictable rhythm, until the day a special transfer student arrived. Their teacher introduced her to the class, a girl with long silvery blue hair named Bai Shuer. The moment Zikin saw her, he felt she was different. Standing in the doorway, she radiated a faint, strange aura, something that did not belong to a normal human. As she walked to find a seat, the rest of the class watched her with curiosity. Shinxing Han leaned toward Zikin, whispering how beautiful Bai Shuer's hair looked, comparing it to delicate snowflakes in winter. Zikin, however, paid no attention to appearances. His mind was focused solely on the unusual aura. Sitting nearby, Bai Shuer only deepened his suspicion. He wondered if she might be a gene fuser, or perhaps the descendant of one. Over the following days, Bai Shuer remained a mystery. She didn't speak to anyone. As soon as class ended, she would lay her head on her desk and stay motionless, barely even getting up to use the restroom. At first, her quiet behavior drew attention. Curious classmates even took photos with her while she slept. But as the days passed and her habits never changed, their interest faded and the classroom returned to its routine. This peace was shattered a month later. A strange and unsettling phenomenon began. Bai Shuer started secreting a viscous white liquid. It carried a foul smell, dripping down her clothes and legs. The other students recoiled in disgust, voicing complaints about the odor. A mean-spirited boy made a crude remark about it before cruelly dumping his water bottle over her head, mocking her by saying he was washing her out. Humiliated and drenched, Bai Shuer's body trembled as she clenched her fist on the desk. Tears rolled down her cheeks, and silent sobs shook her shoulders. The bullies only laughed louder, feeding off her pain. From her desk, Shinxing Han turned anxiously to Zikin, asking if they could help Bai Shuer. Zikin hesitated. He had always sensed danger from the girl, which left him puzzled. Why would someone dangerous cry so helplessly? Still, he understood that in this moment, she wasn't a threat. She was just a weak girl being humiliated. That alone was reason enough to act. Rising from his seat, Zikin walked straight toward the group of bullies. He stopped in front of their ringleader, a boy named Guan Shun, and seized him by the collar. Smiling coldly, he ordered him to wipe the spilled water from Bai Shuer's desk. Guan Shun is terrified and quickly stammers that he'll wipe it up right away. The other bullies also realize they are in trouble. Lin Zikin already had a reputation at school. Not only was he at the top academically, but he was also known for his fighting skills. Even the sixth graders stayed out of his way. The bullies know it's better to comply than risk angering him, so they immediately grab tissues and start cleaning the mess. Once the desk is spotless, Lin Zikin's gaze sweeps across the group. He tells them to apologize to Bai Shuer. Terrified and sweating, they bow their heads, offering rushed apologies and promising never to bully her again. With the bullies gone, Bai Shuer finally looks up, her eyes still wet with tears. She quietly thanks both Lin Zikin and Shun Qing Han. Shun Qing Han gently places a comforting hand on Bai Shuer's shoulder and explains that classmates are supposed to help each other. From that day on, she makes it her personal mission to befriend the quiet white-haired girl, always pulling Lin Zikin into their time together. Slowly, the three of them begin spending more and more of their free time as a group. Shun Qing Han, especially, is warm and generous, always sharing her best snacks with Bai Shuer first. During one of these moments, when Shun Qing Han offers her a treat, Bai Shuer hesitates. She lowers her head and admits that she is worried they might actually find her disgusting, since her body gives off an unpleasant smell. She apologizes for being guarded, explaining that ever since she was little, she had always been shunned by others. Having someone treat her kindly feels so unreal that she thinks she must be dreaming. Shun Qing Han answers firmly that this isn't a dream. With a gentle smile, she explains that she understands what it feels like and would never be disgusted by her. She promises that, as long as Bai Shuer is willing, they will always be friends, then drags a reluctant Lin Zikin into the promise as well. Overcome with emotion, Bai Shuer hugs Shun Qing Han tightly, tears of gratitude streaming down her face as she thanks them for their kindness. After calming down, she says she wants to give them a gift in return. She takes out a necklace made of 2 beast fangs, explaining that it had been a birthday present from her mother. She offers it to them as a symbol of their friendship. Shun Qing Han accepts it enthusiastically, and the three of them stand together in the schoolyard as the sun sets, declaring joyfully that they will be friends forever. But just as their friendship feels secure, the unexpected happens. One day, Shun Qing Han is shocked to learn that Bai Shuer has transferred out of school. Lin Zikin confirms it, recalling that he had actually seen her earlier filling out withdrawal papers. In his memory, he had stood in the principal's office doorway and witnessed the scene. Bai Shuer had been inside with the principal and a large, intimidating man with cybernetic arms. The principal assured the man that Bai Shuer's paperwork was complete and that her personal information would remain confidential. That moment confirmed Lin Zikin's suspicion that Bai Shuer's identity was far from ordinary. From that day on, he never saw her again, though he continued to wonder about her. Still, he notes that what came after was what truly drew his focus. Sometime later, at home, Lin Zikin is giving his mother, Jiang Wangxin, a shoulder massage. She sighs with relief, saying it feels perfect after a long day of typing. Lin Zikin reflects internally that he had learned professional massage techniques, thanks to his celestial root of wisdom, and is surprised by how useful the ability is in daily life. Their quiet evening is soon interrupted by a breaking news report. The broadcast announces another achievement by Kyoto's young prodigy. At just 10 years old, the boy had successfully fused with aberrant beast genes and demonstrated his strength by lifting a 500-kilogram boulder with one hand. Lin Zikin recognizes the boy on the news and realizes with a shock that his rival has already undergone gene fusion. His father, Lin Yin, grumbles about the constant coverage of the Kyoto prodigy, sarcastically asking if the media is trying to turn him into some kind of influencer. The conversation shifts as Lin Yin explains that the boy comes from a 1,000-year-old martial arts family, which likely gives him access to advanced gene fusion technology. Jiang Wangxin, however, disapproves, saying it's wrong to use a child as an experiment. Lin Yin dismisses her concern, countering that in a family like that, the interests of the clan will always come before the individual. His wife fires back with sarcasm, telling him he always acts like he knows everything. While his parents bicker, Lin Zikin sinks into thought. He recalls that before fusion, the Kyoto prodigy could lift 100 kilograms. Now, after fusion, he can lift 500, an impressive 5-fold increase. But by comparison, Lin Zikin, only 8 years old, can already lift 300 kilograms with one hand, without undergoing any gene fusion at all. With that realization, he clenches his fist in confidence, convinced that his potential is far greater. His confidence is short-lived. The next news report leaves him shaken. Breaking news shows a city in a neighboring country reduced to ruins after a massive explosion. The broadcast reveals it was the work of giant aberrant rats. Horrific images flash across the screen. Monstrous rats swarming through the wreckage, one of them seizing a screaming woman in its jaws and devouring her alive. The report confirms that heretics were behind the attack, orchestrating the aberrant beast from the shadows. At a press conference, an official from the devastated Sakura country pleads for international aid, describing the heretics as a cult that manipulates beasts and betrays humanity for their own ends. Watching all of this, Lin Zikin feels relieved that he was born in a strong and stable country, where he has the safety to grow stronger without immediately being caught up in chaos. But his thoughts are cut short by the sound of sonic booms outside. Pulling back the curtain, he sees a squadron of heavily armed cyborgs flying across the night sky. The sheer number of them makes him uneasy, and he wonders what could have prompted such a deployment. The next morning, everything seems back to normal. On his way to school, he waits for Shun Qing Han, who rushes up apologizing for being late. As she arrives, his attention is drawn to the beast Fong necklace around her neck, the one by Shu'er had given them. To his surprise, it suddenly glows a bright blue. He immediately realizes the Fong must have come from an aberrant beast, and that it was the source of the strange aura he had once sensed. The glow fades quickly, and since nothing else happens, the two don't think much more of it. Still, between the appearance of the cyborgs and the necklace's reaction, Lin Zikin can't shake the feeling that something bad is on the horizon. As they continue walking, a striking woman with long red hair and a black dress leans casually against a lamppost, watching them. She steps in front of their path, commenting on how adorable they look together, and asks if they're brother and sister. Shun Qing Han proudly corrects her, explaining that they are childhood best friends. The woman smiles wistfully, saying she wishes she had a childhood friend too. But then her expression shifts. Her eyes glint as she leans closer, asking why they're going to school alone and where their parents are. Just as Shun Qing Han begins to answer, Lin Zikin quickly takes her hand and cuts her off, saying they're going to be late. He pulls her along, leaving the mysterious woman behind. Once they're at a safe distance, he gently reminds Shun Qing Han not to talk to strangers. She nods, a bit embarrassed. Later that day, after school, Lin Zikin leads them through a deserted alley. The narrow, empty street makes Shun Qing Han uneasy, and she whispers that the place feels creepy. Lin Zikin explains to Shun Qing Han that the alley feels deserted because the area is scheduled for demolition and most of the residents have already moved away. Their walk is cut short when a familiar voice calls out. The red-haired woman from earlier that morning steps into view, remarking that the children are finally out of school. This time she isn't alone. A large, muscular man named Shang stands beside her. She points them out to him, saying she's found the kids. Zikin immediately grows wary. He had chosen this route specifically to avoid being followed, yet somehow she had managed to track them down. The woman tries to draw them closer, speaking in a sweet, coaxing voice as though offering treats. Her partner, however, grows impatient. Shang tells her to stop wasting time and just knock the children out so they can finish the job. Without hesitation, he lunges toward them, shouting that he's in a hurry to sell them for cash. A cloth is clenched in his fist, clearly meant to knock them unconscious. As Shang closes in, Zikin reacts instantly. He shoves Shun Qing Han aside to keep her safe and plants his feet firmly, squaring up to face the much larger man. Channeling all his strength, he clenches his fist and launches a punch. His blow lands squarely on Shang's face, the force powerful enough to stop the man in his tracks and send him flying backward down the alley with a cry of pain. The red-haired woman stares in shock, unable to believe an elementary schooler could overpower a grown man so easily. On the ground, Shang coughs up blood, dazed and broken. Zikin wastes no time. He turns on the woman and, before she can recover, drives a punch in her midsection, followed by a sharp uppercut that knocks her unconscious. Standing over the fallen kidnappers, Zikin's expression hardens. He picks up a nearby brick, reasoning grimly that since there are no cameras in the abandoned alley, this is his chance to eliminate them. If they live, his secret strength could be exposed, ruining his plan to remain hidden and grow stronger in peace. Just as he steels himself to deliver the final blow, the ground begins to tremble violently. The earthquake shakes the entire alley. Suddenly, a massive clawed hand smashes through the wall of a nearby building. From the dust and rubble emerges a monstrous aberrant rat, towering above them. The beast ignores the children and focuses on the unconscious woman. Without hesitation, it swings its claws, decapitating her in one swift motion. The rat lifts her severed head in its jaws as Shen Qinghan screams in horror. Recognizing the immediate danger, Zikin scoops her into his arms and tells her what they're facing, a giant, aberrant rat. He urges her to hold on as he sprints away from the collapsing alley. As they flee, a streak of red and gold blazes through the sky. A female cyborg descends at incredible speed, her helmet fitted with rabbit ear attachments. Qinghan, looking over Zikin's shoulder, gasps at her speed. The cyborg lands gracefully behind the rat and prepares to strike. Her gauntlet glows as she announces her weapon, anesthetic smoke. She fires, and the projectiles explode across the beast's body, rocking the alley with blasts that force Zikin to shield Qinghan with his body. The rat roars in pain, staggering under the effects of the gas. Seizing the opportunity, the cyborg surges forward in a blur and unleashes a flurry of strikes, finishing off the dazed monster. Later that night, Zikin watches the news report about the incident from home. He carefully analyzes the cyborg's performance. In his estimation, her power level isn't especially high. She had to rely on weakening the rat first with anesthetic, and even then, it took her 7 minutes to bring it down. He reflects on how dangerous aberrant rats truly are, knowing they can grow over 10 meters long and reach the strength of an ordinary fifth-tier being. He feels fortunate they survived, but also recognizes the urgency of training harder to protect himself and those around him. He throws himself back into training, loading heavy weights onto a barbell and performing squats as his system rewards him with points. Despite the looming threat of aberrant beasts, daily life continues. Before long, he and Shen Qinghan celebrate their 9th birthday together, surrounded by both families and a large cake. After making their wishes, they exchange gifts. Thanks to his celestial root of wisdom, Zikin had managed to teach himself wood carving in a single night. He crafted an intricate wooden hairpin as a gift. Shen Qinghan is thrilled, immediately placing it in her hair and exclaiming how much she loves it. Time passes quickly. The two graduate from elementary school and step into middle school. As they leave their old campus behind, Zikin's system notifies him that he has completed the Dominate 9 years of compulsory education achievement, unlocking the Kindergarten Kid King and elementary school top dog titles. Energized by the rewards, he grows excited about unlocking the middle school Overlord title next, which promises the powerful survival of the fittest attribute. He spends the break locked in a strict high-intensity regimen, training harder than ever. Weighted push-ups with a massive boulder on his back, long-distance runs, and relentless drills push his limits. His dedication pays off. Just before the new school year begins, after finishing a grueling 10 kilometers run, his system announces a breakthrough. His biological level has reached ordinary tier 3. His stats soar. He can now lift 700 kilograms with one hand, leap 4 meters into the air, and sprint 100 meters in just 6 seconds. As he marvels at his progress, his thoughts inevitably turn to his old rival, the Kyoto Prodigy. By coincidence, the night before school starts, a new news report airs. It reveals that the now 14-year-old prodigy has fused with giant ant genes and can lift a 2,000-kilogram alloy block with one hand. Zikin calculates that giant ant genes typically multiply strength by 4 to 8 times. This means that without the genetic enhancement, the prodigy's natural strength is closer to 500 kilograms. The comparison reassures him. Despite the prodigy's reputation, Zikin knows his own raw power is still greater. He smiled to himself, imagining just how powerful he would become once he underwent gene fusion in the future. The next day, middle school officially began. Since he was the city's top student, every prestigious school had tried to recruit him. In the end, he chose Shanghai Middle School on the condition that Qinghan could be placed in the same class. During registration, both the principal and the homeroom teacher warmly welcomed him, expressing how much they were counting on him. After exchanging a few polite words, he excused himself and left with Qinghan. His real reason for choosing Shanghai Middle School was not the academics, but the athletic facilities. Before classes started, the two of them headed straight to the badminton courts to play. Han was eager and started the match with her signature serve, calling it her fairy's curveball. Lin Zikin effortlessly caught the shuttlecock in midair, but before their game could continue, they were interrupted. A group of older students approached. Their leader, wearing a backward cap, snatched the shuttlecock and announced that the court was reserved for them. His friend sneered and suggested Han should stay behind to spar with them. Han refused, reminding them of the rules and that she and Lin had been there first. When the group got too close to her, Lin Zikin stepped forward with a cold expression. He told them to back off and repeated that the court should be first come, first served. The leader scoffed, dismissing him, and arrogantly declared that he was taking the court regardless. He tossed the shuttlecock into the air, but before he could even serve, Lin Zikin moved. With speed and strength far beyond their expectations, Lin leapt and smashed the shuttlecock. The shot blasted across the court like a white streak. The force shattered the leader's racket and sent his cap flying. The older students were stunned, left sweating and trembling, unsure if he was even human. Some whispered nervously if he might already be a gene fuser. One of them admitted in fear that if the shot had been slightly off, their leader's head could have been destroyed. Overwhelmed, the group quickly bowed in apology. They acknowledged the rules, promised to leave, and hurried away. After that day, no one dared to bully Lin Zikin or Han again. Aside from the school's size and facilities, life at Shanghai Middle felt familiar. Academically, Lin was still far ahead, having already mastered the middle school curriculum. During class, he passed the time by reading books that interested him. At night, after finishing his training, he used his celestial root of wisdom to study new skills online. He quickly picked up cooking, photography, driving, swimming, and various sports. To unlock the middle school overlord title, he aimed not only to rank first in every subject, but also to represent his school in national competitions. His achievements stacked up, trophies piling high, but to avoid attracting too much attention, he deliberately avoided sweeping first place in every event. Even after a semester, the title still had not unlocked. His consistent victories, however, made him extremely popular. Many girls admired him, leaving stacks of love letters on his desk, though he ignored them all. Outside of tutoring Han, his main focus became the upcoming school sports festival. He was confident that by completely dominating the event, he would finally unlock the title. For the festival, he chose only 3 events: shot put, high jump, and sprinting, each representing strength, agility, and speed. In the shot put, his throw reached a staggering 201.1 meters. Though he held back enough not to appear inhuman, he still easily took first place in all 3 categories. As he sat with Han afterward, admiring his gold medal, a sudden surge of power coursed through his body. A system notification appeared, announcing that his achievements had far surpassed every other student. He had officially unlocked the middle school overlord title. With that, all 3 school-age titles were complete, and the dominant 9 years of compulsory education achievement was unlocked. As a reward, he gained a new biological attribute: survival of the fittest. The new ability granted a predator's power, the capacity to devour the life essence of other creatures to evolve. As the energy flowed through him, he wondered to himself what exactly this life essence truly was. Lost in thought, Lin Zikin didn't notice Han calling for him until she told him to wait. Snapping back to reality, he suddenly had an idea and asked if he could borrow her beast fong necklace. She agreed and handed it to him. The instant his fingers touched the fong, a system notification appeared, informing him that he had devoured a trace of the abyssal giant butterfly's life essence. A new guidebook unlocked, though with only 1% progress. A spectral image of a massive dark butterfly, with eyes covering its wings, flickered into view around him. Stunned, he realized the fong was actually a butterfly's tooth. That night, curious to learn more, he searched online for information about the abyssal giant butterfly. To his surprise, nothing came up. Accepting that he would have to study this exotic beast himself, he remembered that Bai Shuer had originally given them a pair of fangs. Rummaging through his bag, he found a second tooth and absorbed its power as well. The system notified him again, showing a second trace of life essence devoured, but the progress only rose to 2%. Disappointed, he concluded that the fangs contained very little essence and that he would need another method to unlock the butterfly's full power. The following day after school, to boost his training and also ensure a quick escape route if they encountered aberrant beasts, he began biking Shining Han to and from school every day. As they were leaving campus, a man in a tracksuit called out to him. Introducing himself as Coach Guo from the martial arts team, he praised Lin Zikin's record-breaking performance at the sports festival, calling it the best in the school's history. With infectious enthusiasm, the coach formally invited him to join the martial arts team, insisting that his athletic ability was even greater than his academic strength. He encouraged Lin to think it over, speaking so quickly and passionately that Lin didn't have a chance to decline. Before leaving, Coach Guo told him the team practiced in room C of the gym and that he'd be waiting if Lin wanted to visit. That evening, back in his room, Lin was ready to test his new ability. He clapped his hands together, killing a cockroach and a mosquito. Opening his palms, he examined the insects but felt no surge of power. From this, he concluded that ordinary creatures were too weak and only powerful or exotic beasts carried enough life essence for his evolution. To test this theory further, he decided to visit a supermarket known for selling beast meat. With Shining Han riding on the back, he biked them into the city until they reached a large multi-story store. Walking through the aisles, he quickly noticed that all the beast meat available was pre-packaged, which wouldn't allow him to test his ability. Just as he was feeling frustrated, he heard a butcher advertising fresh-cut beast meat. At a counter labeled fresh beast meat, not pre-packaged, safe to eat, large sides of meat were being cut. Leaving Shining Han waiting, he rushed to the counter and placed his hand on a freshly cut piece. The moment he touched it, a surge of purple energy flowed into him. His eyes lit up. Just as he suspected, beast meat still carried life essence. Grinning, he clenched his fist in excitement. Shining Han watched him, bewildered at why touching meat made him so happy. When she asked how it felt, he played it off casually, saying it just seemed fresher than normal, then asked if she wanted to touch it too. Embarrassed, she quickly refused. Now certain of his theory, Lin decided to buy some beast meat to test at home, which shocked Shining Han. Beast meat was notoriously expensive, and even the cheapest option, Ghost Shadow Squid, cost nearly 1,000 yen per gene. Despite her protests, he picked up 3 packages. Shining Han panicked at the price and urged him to ask his mother first, but he reassured her with a smile and claimed that his mother had already told him to buy plenty for both families. A memory of his mother happily agreeing to cook flashed through his mind. While sharing was indeed part of his plan, his main reason was to see if absorbing the life essence would spoil the meat, since he still intended to eat it. At the checkout, he paid nearly 30,000 yen for the squid. The cashier thanked him, and as they left, he couldn't help but think about how costly the meat was, wondering when they'd be able to afford it again. By the time shopping was done, it was past 9 p.m., and with the city still unstable, they headed straight home. On the way back, Lin couldn't resist testing his purchase. Discreetly placing his hand on the package in the basket, he immediately felt the familiar surge of purple energy. The system confirmed he had devoured a trace of the Ghost Shadow Squid's life essence, unlocking a new guidebook. His progress, however, was only 0.1%. A spectral image of the multi-eyed squid appeared in his mind. Running the numbers, he realized that devouring such a small portion of meat barely registered. To reach 100% completion, he would need 100 gene of squid meat, costing nearly 100,000 yen. Considering the squid's special ability to dissolve into water and disappear, he decided the power was worth the effort. His path forward was clear. He needed to find a way to earn a huge amount of money without relying on his family. At the same time, he still needed to confirm his other concern, whether absorbing life essence would cause the meat itself to spoil. He glanced at the package in the basket, ready for the next part of his experiment. The meat had remained fresh for a while, much to Lin Zikin's delight. Absorbing the essence didn't ruin it, at least not immediately. As he continued, the guidebook progress for the Ghost Shadow Squid climbed to 3%. His concentration was broken, however, when Shining Han shouted a warning. Slamming on the brakes, he screeched to a halt just inches away from a couple in the bike lane, apologizing as he caught his balance. Scolding himself for not paying closer attention, he noticed the lane was unusually crowded. Shining Han pointed ahead, and he saw why. A tense standoff was unfolding. A muscular, red-haired man held a woman hostage at knife point. Shining Han gasped in terror, recognizing the hostage as their teacher, Xia. The man shouted threats at the gathering crowd, while police officers surrounded the area, trying to de-escalate the situation through megaphones. The police captain held back an officer named Abing, warning him not to shoot recklessly. He explained that the target was too close to the hostage, and any clean shot was impossible. Another officer suggested using sleeping gas, but the captain rejected the idea, fearing it might provoke the suspect prematurely. Seeing the hesitation, Lin Zikin decided to act. He discreetly picked up a small rock from the pavement and flicked it with incredible speed and precision. The rock struck the hostage-taker's hand, making him cry out and drop his knife. Teacher Xia was immediately freed. The police captain shouted for his team to move in, and the officers swiftly arrested the disarmed suspect, while a female officer comforted the shaken but unharmed teacher. Lin Zikin quietly got back on his bike. Shining Han, wide-eyed, asked if he had thrown the rock. He quickly shushed her, telling her they would talk later, and they pedaled away. Just as they were about to escape, a voice called out. It was the police captain, asking if Lin Zikin had thrown the rock. Panicking at being caught, he nervously denied it, smiling awkwardly. The captain watched them leave, finding it strange that someone would deny a good deed, and muttered aloud about a reward for bravery. The word, reward, immediately caught Lin Zikin's attention. Needing money, he slammed on the brakes and skidded back to the captain, sheepishly retracting his denial. He admitted he had thrown the rock and explained that the money was very important to him. The captain told him to come to the station to make a report and promised to help him apply for the reward. After notifying their families, Lin Zikin and Shining Han prepared to head to the police station, assuming everything would go smoothly. But as the police led the suspect away in handcuffs, horror struck. The man's face began to twist grotesquely, mutating before their eyes into a giant, aberrant rat. The monster broke free from its cuffs and swiped at the officers with massive claws. The police captain ordered all forces to open fire while protecting the civilians, but the bullets had no effect. A frantic report identified the heretic as having fused with Rat King genes and called for immediate backup. Realizing the danger, Lin Zikin grabbed Shining Han and teacher Xia, urging them to run. Fortunately, the mutant didn't chase them, but he knew they had to put as much distance as possible between themselves and the creature. As they fled, a new figure streaked down from the sky, enveloped in a purple aura. It was a female cyborg in sleek, futuristic armor. She landed a powerful blow on the giant rat, staggering it backward. Hovering, the cyborg, with short, dark purple hair, charged a laser cannon in her chest. With a command, she unleashed a massive purple energy beam that engulfed the mutant rat. The creature roared in agony before being completely disintegrated, leaving only scorched remains. Lin Zikin watched, stunned by the cyborg's overwhelming power. With the threat gone, teacher Xia and Shining Han breathed sighs of relief. Lin Zikin, however, was more concerned about his bike, noting with relief that the blast hadn't damaged it, a huge financial loss averted. Just then, he noticed something else. The expensive ghost shadow squid in the bike basket had spoiled, giving off a foul stench. He now understood his initial theory was correct. Absorbing life essence caused the meat to spoil, but with a delay. Holding up a limp tentacle, Lin Zikin realized he needed an excuse. Thinking quickly, he blamed the fight and the now-deceased heretic. Putting on a dramatic show, he threw the spoiled tentacle down with a loud clatter, exclaiming that the heretic and the cyborg's attack had roasted the meat. Teacher Kaowei comforted him gently, saying, "What matters is that they're all safe." Although the captain had requested they head home, Lin Zikin and Shining Han ended up riding with the security team to the station. To their surprise, the van carried the remains of the heretic. After the laser blast, all that remained was a pile of scorched flesh on a gurney, the smell overpowering. Sitting amidst the stench, Lin Zikin had another thought. He remembered that the Beast Fang's Bayou had given them still contained life essence long after the creature's death. A new possibility dawned on him. Could there be life essence left in the corpse as well? And if so, could he devour the heretic's Rat King gene for himself? Curiosity won. Sitting in the police van, Lin Zikin discreetly reached toward the remains. The moment his fingers touched the scorched flesh, a powerful surge of red energy flowed into him. His system confirmed that he had devoured a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence, unlocking its guidebook with an impressive 5% progress. Shocked by how much he absorbed, he realized that the freshness of the source directly influenced the amount of life essence he could obtain. The escorting officer, Abing, noticed his movement and told him to sit still. Lin Zikin quickly claimed he just needed a stretch. Later, at the public security office, he knew the captain was much sharper than Abing. The captain informed him that the bravery reward had been applied for, but then asked a serious question. How had a middle schooler, in poor lighting and at such a distance, precisely hit the heretic's knife hand with a rock? Lin Zikin gave a vague response, claiming it was because he often trained his right hand. The captain was left speechless. Their conversation was interrupted when Shining Han called out that her Annie had arrived. Lin Zikin was startled to see his parents rushing into the station. His mother ran toward him in panic, calling his name with a terrified expression. She threw her arms around him tightly, asking if he was all right and saying he'd scared her half to death. He reassured her, telling her he was fine and had even earned a bravery reward. Holding him close, his mother made him promise that next time there was danger, he would hide somewhere safe first. Tears glistened in her eyes as she said all she wanted was to see him grow up safe. Lin Zikin was visibly moved by her heartfelt concern. As they left, he reassured her he would always protect himself first. The police captain watched them go, still pondering the boy's unusual abilities. On the way out, Lin Zikin passed two female officers discussing the case. One complained that perverts were getting more brazen, while the other revealed that the heretic had been a liberal arts student at Guangyuan University, brainwashed by the rat god cult. The first officer cursed the cult, but the second remarked that the root cause needed to be eliminated, the self-proclaimed Rat King. The name instantly grabbed Lin Zikin's attention. In the car on the way home, he immediately started researching the rat god cult on his phone. He was surprised to find a wealth of information. He learned the cult's main base was in Shanghai, and most members were societal outcasts. He uncovered a shocking detail. The Rat King sought to evolve into a higher life form, forcing followers to gather evolution materials. This led to a chilling question. Had the Rat King, an aberrant beast, already developed sentience? His thoughts were interrupted when he glanced out the window and saw a giant rat nearly the size of Cat scurrying along the sidewalk. For a moment, he wondered if it was connected to the Rat King, but quickly dismissed the thought, noting that cat-sized rats weren't uncommon in the South. Shaking off the distraction, he noticed Shining Han had been unusually quiet, squirming uncomfortably with her knees pressed tightly together. He immediately understood. Ever since she was a child, whenever she got nervous or startled, she couldn't control her bladder. While embarrassing, Lin Zikin had always suspected this peculiar reaction might be tied to some hidden potential within her. Once home, his mother, Jiang Wangxin, was shocked to see that nearly 3,000 yen worth of beast meat was gone. Lin Zikin quickly came up with an excuse, sheepishly claiming that during the emergency, he must have dropped it while running away. His mother immediately prioritized his safety over the meat, telling him it didn't matter as long as he was unharmed. Lin Zikin breathed a silent sigh of relief, glad he had fooled her. His father, Lin Yin, however, was more stubborn. Announcing that he was going back to look for the expensive meat, he boasted that even a fated wage slave like him was tough enough to handle it. Lin Zikin tried to stop his father, arguing that it was too dangerous and the meat was already spoiled. His father, suspicious, asked how he could possibly know it had gone bad. Sweating nervously, Lin Zikin quickly claimed it was an obvious guess. Meanwhile, back at the now-empty public security office, the captain lingered, still pondering the night's strange events. Smoking a cigarette, he couldn't shake the question. How could an ordinary middle schooler throw a rock with such incredible power and precision? Suddenly, a strange noise echoed from the corner. His eyes widened in shock as he saw a massive rat, far larger than any normal rodent, perched atop the filing cabinets. Before he could react, the giant rat leapt down. The captain instinctively drew his pistol and opened fire, but the confrontation ended in a bloody blur. The next day in class, Lin Zicken sighed at his desk. Reflecting on the previous night, he realized he was still too weak compared to the powerful heretic and the female cyborg. He needed money fast to buy more beast meat, like the ghost shadow squid, to fill his guidebook's progress bar. He considered becoming an influencer or selling study materials, but dismissed the ideas. They were too flashy and conflicted with his goal of keeping a low profile. Suddenly, an idea struck him. In this world, martial arts and gene fusion were far more important than academics. He decided it was time to act. Later, he headed to the gym in Building C, where the martial arts team practiced. Coach Guo was drinking from a thermos and looked up, surprised to see him. "Are you here to join, or just learn more about the team?" he asked. Lin Zicken leaned in discreetly and asked if joining the team offered a chance to compete in city tournaments, and whether the prize money was substantial. The coach smiled. "Yes, you'd have a chance, and prizes are worth tens of thousands." Satisfied, Lin Zicken shook the coach's hand. "I'm joining the martial arts team today." Coach Guo's face lit up. He gathered the team to announce their new member, introducing Lin Zicken and reminding everyone of his sports meet achievements. The other team members, Zhang Kai, Heng Tianing, Ashing, Lu Tong, and Han Yigua, introduced themselves. Finally, Lin Zicken introduced himself. Having no formal martial arts training, he watched as Coach Guo demonstrated basic fist and leg techniques. The coach explained that while the moves looked simple, they were difficult to master. Lai Shutong, the team's fastest learner, had taken a week to perfect them. He then encouraged Lin Zicken to try. Assuming a ready stance, Lin Zicken relied on his celestial root of wisdom, which granted him heaven-sent martial insight. He had already memorized and understood every detail of the demonstration just by watching. As he practiced the fist techniques, a system notification awarded him points in vitality, strength, dexterity, and proficiency. He executed every hand and fist movement with flawless precision and speed. Transitioning seamlessly into the leg techniques, he performed powerful, fluid kicks. Another system notification granted points for leg muscles, dexterity, and proficiency. Coach Guo and the team watched in stunned silence. The coach's jaw dropped, and he almost fumbled his thermos, unable to believe someone could learn such complex forms perfectly after one look. A single thought formed in his mind. This must be a once-in-a-million martial arts prodigy. That evening in Shanghai, Lin Zicken's mother, Jiang Wangxin, called him for dinner. He rushed out eagerly, spoon in hand, asking what she had made. She proudly presented a large platter of the ghost shadow squid he had wanted. The aroma was incredible. "Wow, it smells amazing," he exclaimed. She urged him to eat while it was hot. Taking a bite, he praised her cooking as the best in the world. Pleased, she told him to eat a lot, explaining she had bought 3 full gins for him. As Lin Zicken eats, a system notification appears. He has devoured a trace of the ghost shadow squid's life essence through consumption, raising his guidebook progress to 3.01%. He frowns in frustration, realizing that simply eating the meat works just as well as touching it. If only he had known, he wouldn't have spoiled the first batch by handling it directly. While they eat, a news report catches their attention. It features a 14-year-old genius girl, hailed as the youngest cyborg in history. After fusing with an energy core, her system grants her superhuman abilities, lifting a 5,000 kilograms SUV with one hand, sprinting 100 meters in 3 seconds, and leaping 8 meters vertically. Watching, Lin Zicken ponders a familiar debate in his world between the Kyoto prodigy's gene fusion and the girl's cybernetic enhancements. Which path produces greater power? His thoughts are interrupted by another breaking news story. It announces that the security captain they had met, Hun Shan, was killed in his office. Surveillance footage shows him being attacked and devoured by a giant mutant rat that infiltrated the station. Medics wheel his body into an ambulance. Lin Zikin is horrified. He recalls the enormous rat he had seen the night before and wonders if it was connected. He imagines a giant rat rampaging through the city. The captain's death is a grim reminder of how the danger in the city is escalating. Staring intently, Lin Zikin resolves to intensify his training immediately. After grueling practice, his speed and strength skyrocket. He can now sprint 100 meters in 4.61 seconds, leap 5.3 meters vertically, and lift an astounding 1,200 kilograms with one hand. Alongside personal training, he continues martial arts practice with the school team, aiming to boost his strength quickly for the upcoming tournament. The next morning, he heads to the gym, with a curious Shun Qinghan following him. On the way, a girl with pink hair warmly greets Lin Zikin and offers him a bottle of fresh milk. He politely declines, thanking her, and walks past with Shun Qinghan, leaving her disappointed. Watching from a distance is his teammate, Jiang Kai. Clenching his fists in frustration, he resents that the person who beat him at the sports meet is rejecting the gift from the girl he admires. Unable to contain his anger, Jiang Kai rushes forward and blocks their path. He confronts Lin Zikin, scolding him for poor manners and for hurting the girl's feelings. Lin Zikin calmly explains that he is allergic to milk, but Jiang Kai refuses to believe him, calling him a liar. Enraged, Jiang Kai points at Lin Zikin and challenges him to a spar. He sets the terms. If he loses, he will never bother Lin Zikin again. If Lin Zikin loses, he must drink the entire bottle of milk. Just as the challenge is issued, a new system notification appears. A new achievement mission has been triggered. Defeat 1,000 different opponents in formal competition to advance the survival of the fittest biological trait. A sly grin spreads across Lin Zikin's face. This is the opportunity he has been waiting for. Surrounded by a menacing purple aura, he accepts the challenge, his eyes glinting with anticipation. Word of the duel spreads quickly through the school. Two students decide to watch the fight between the popular junior Lin Zikin and the senior. By the time they arrive, the gym is packed, with a large circle forming around the sparring area. The crowd is clearly on Lin Zikin's side. Many of his female fans cheer him on, including the pink-haired girl from earlier, who readies her phone to record. Jiang Kai scoffs, annoyed that everyone assumes he will lose. Internally, he admits that Lin Zikin's talent has grown incredibly over the past month. He sees this duel as his last chance to put the rising genius in his place and showcase his own strength. In contrast, Lin Zikin appears unfazed. He casually states that he needs to go home for dinner and asks if they can make the fight quick. Taking this as an insult, Jiang Kai smirks and agrees to grant his wish. Coach Gui steps between them to officiate, preparing the arena for the duel. Lin Zikin raises his hand, reminding everyone of the rules. Before the fight officially begins, Jiang Kai shouts for a pause. With a condescending grin, he offers Lin Zikin a handicap, pointing out that he has trained for nearly 2 years while Lin Zikin is only a novice of 1 month. To be fair, he declares, Lin Zikin can take the first 3 moves. Lin Zikin casually agrees. The moment he does, Lin Zikin explodes into motion. Closing the distance in a blur, he catches Jiang Kai completely off guard. Before his opponent can raise his guard, Lin Zikin unleashes a single devastating punch. The blow connects with brutal precision, sending blood flying from Jiang Kai's nose. He collapses unconscious on the gym floor. The entire gym falls into stunned silence. Coach Gui's jaw drops in disbelief, shouting that the fight was over in a single punch. The martial arts team and the surrounding crowd are equally shocked, calling the outcome ridiculous. They cannot process that the duel lasted less than a second. The silence breaks with a roar of celebration. Shun Qinghan throws her fist in the air, ecstatically cheering for Lin Zikin. The other girls, including the pink-haired admirer, join in, shouting in awe of his skill. Standing over his defeated opponent, Lin Zikin receives a system notification. It informs him that by defeating a rival and winning the admiration of the opposite sex, he has obtained priority mating rights. More importantly, his new mission progress is now 1,000. He reflects that he still has a long way to go to unlock the natural selection attribute. To accelerate his progress, he turns to the remaining, terrified members of the martial arts team. With a friendly yet unsettling smile, he suggests they should all spar as well. The team members stare back, faces pale with horror. Immediately, they start making pathetic excuses. One claims he is crammed for school, another says his mother is waiting for dinner, and others pretend to feel sick. Meanwhile, Jang Kai struggles to his knees. Refusing to accept his loss, he furiously accuses Lin Zikin of a sneak attack and vows to crush him in a rematch. Coach Gua steps in, telling Jang Kai to accept defeat like a man. Curious, the coach wonders aloud if the punch was merely lucky and decides to test the theory on another team member, Xiaozi. Hearing his name, the spiky-haired Xiaozi freezes in terror. Though he assumes a fighting stance, his fear is palpable as he begs Lin Zikin for mercy, asking him not to hit his face. 10 minutes later, the results are clear. Several martial arts team members lie unconscious on the gym floor. Lin Zikin stands over them, noting that he deliberately held back, exchanging only a few controlled blows. However, checking his system reveals a disappointment. Aside from the initial victory, none of the other spars counted toward his achievement. The rival count remains at 1,000. Friendly sparring isn't enough. He must defeat rivals in official competition. As he contemplates this, Coach Gua claps him on the shoulder, grinning wildly. He declares Lin Zikin a true genius, amazed that the newcomer became the team's ace in just over a month. Filled with confidence, the coach proclaims that with Lin Zikin leading, their school will crush all others and claim first place at this year's regional martial arts tournament. Lin Zikin has a moment of clarity. The coach is right. The upcoming tournament is the perfect opportunity to face many official opponents at once. Determined, he understands that defeating them in official competition will finally count toward his survival of the fittest progress. His thoughts are interrupted by the defeated Jang Kai. Having regained consciousness, Jang Kai rises, points at Lin Zikin, and formally accepts his loss with a bizarre and overly graphic declaration of submission. His strange words leave everyone, including Shin Han, Coach Gua, and Lin Zikin, completely shocked and disturbed. With the duel over, spectators and the coach quickly leave, leaving Jang Kai alone, grumbling that he hadn't finished his speech. In this world, high schoolers must choose between martial arts and academics, with martial arts considered superior due to the constant dangers. Determined not to be left behind, Shin Han decides to join the martial arts class. She begins rigorous daily training alongside Lin Zikin. Their routine is intense: a 30,000-meter run, an hour of hand-to-hand combat practice, followed by sit-ups and push-ups to build strength. Each session concludes with Lin Zikin giving Shin Han a massage to relieve muscle tension, ensuring she can endure the relentless training. Lin Zikin doesn't slack on his own training. He pushes himself to the limit every day, driven by the goal of winning the tournament and unlocking the natural selection attribute as quickly as possible. 1 month later, all their hard work is about to be tested. The day of the regional martial arts tournament has arrived. The massive city gymnasium is packed, the crowd encircling a central fighting ring. In the waiting area, tension is thick. Coach Gua nervously reviews the roster, complaining that Shanghai High has drawn a match against the strongest team, Shanghai No. 1 High. Another team member adds to the anxiety, pointing out that their opponents have a fighter capable of running 100 meters in under 9 seconds, leaving the team feeling outmatched. Sensing their low morale, Lin Zikin calmly raises his hand and volunteers to fight first. Though still worried, Coach Gua agrees, letting his ace take the stage. As Lin Zikin enters the arena, Shin Han cheers him on from the sidelines while Coach Gua shouts encouragement through a megaphone. Lin Zikin readies himself. His opponent, a much larger and more muscular student from Shanghai No. 1 High, steps forward. Acknowledging Lin Zikin's accomplishment in reaching the tournament as a first year, the opponent quickly shifts to mockery. Sneering, he says the stage isn't meant for a shorty who hasn't even hit 1.7 meters. Flexing his bicep, he promises to show Lin Zikin what a real gap in size and power feels like. The referee signals the duel to begin. The large opponent rushes forward, unleashing a powerful punch. To his shock, Lin Zikin doesn't retreat. He sidesteps effortlessly and counters with a single, devastating punch to the opponent's chest. The impact is brutal, sending the massive student flying across the arena and knocking him out cold. The announcer stares in stunned silence, finally stammering out a declaration of victory for Lin Zikin. On the sidelines, Shin Han jumps to her feet, cheering wildly. The rest of the Shanghai High team erupts in celebration, mobbing Coach Gua and shouting that Lin Zikin is insane, dismissing the strength of his opponent as mere dead muscle. Across the arena, the coach of Shanghai No. 1 High fumes. He berates his defeated student for charging him blindly, ignoring footwork. Back in the ring, Lin Zikin receives a system notification confirming he has defeated another tournament rival. His ranking improves, and his elimination count climbs to 2,100. He clenches his fist in satisfaction, knowing these official matches are exactly what he needs. Determined to stop him, the opposing coach calls forward his next fighter, a boy named Chun Fong. He orders him to crush the first-year prodigy quickly. Chun Fong calmly agrees, stepping onto the stage with composure. The announcer signals the duel. Chun Fong immediately showcases his superior technique, moving with incredible speed and launching a flurry of attacks. Lin Zikin meets the assault calmly, blocking a powerful kick with one hand. The force sends Chun Fong spinning through the air, crashing hard onto the arena floor, unconscious. Medics rush in, carrying him away on a stretcher and stating he needs a head scan. The crowd murmurs in disbelief, questioning what just happened. Some spectators angrily demand a refund, insisting the tournament must be rigged. The coach of Shanghai No. 1 High, however, realizes the truth with dawning horror. This first year from Shanghai High isn't lucky. He is the real deal. In the waiting area, the opposing coach devises a new strategy. He calls forward his next fighter, a spiky-haired boy named Jie Fei, and orders him to focus entirely on defense, warning that losing is unacceptable. Jie Fei, brimming with confidence, assures his coach he will win. Walking to the ring, he internally dismisses Lin Zikin's victories, believing them to be lucky tricks. With his superior speed, running 100 meters in under 9 seconds, and greater experience, he is certain he cannot lose. The crowd buzzes with anticipation, spectators discussing Jie Fei's reputation and marveling at his speed. Some note that his father is a gene fusion user, explaining his enhanced abilities. Most agree that Lin Zikin's impressive run is about to end, though they acknowledge his incredible potential. The announcer signals the duel to begin. Ignoring his coach's instructions, Jie Fei immediately goes on the offensive, lunging at Lin Zikin with a powerful kick, followed by a rapid flurry of strikes using his special technique, the flowing water shattering rock fist. His coach shouts in fury at his disobedience, but Jie Fei scoffs at defense, convinced a genius like him doesn't need it. Meanwhile, Lin Zikin observes the technique with interest and decides to learn it on the spot, analyzing each movement as he effortlessly evades the attacks. Jie Fei grows increasingly frustrated as he fails to land a single hit. Out of breath, he demands to know how Lin Zikin is dodging his attacks. Unfazed, Lin Zikin calmly asks if he has any other moves, taunting him. Enraged, Jie Fei unleashes another desperate barrage of punches. Lin Zikin studies the same predictable pattern for a moment, then decides observation is over. He thinks, all right then, let's end this. Effortlessly, he dodges the final punch and counters with a single, devastating kick to Jie Fei's midsection, instantly ending the match. The crowd is stunned into silence. Moments later, thunderous cheers erupt from the Shanghai High supporters. Coach Gua and Shin Han shout in exhilaration, celebrating Lin Zikin's third consecutive victory and praising him as a beast. The remainder of the tournament proceeds just as easily. The next few opponents prove even weaker, and Lin Zikin dispatches them with minimal effort. Soon, he has single-handedly defeated all 5 fighters from the opposing team. Over the next 2 days, the pattern continues. He takes down 2 more schools with ease, ultimately leading Shanghai High to claim the championship. He and his team proudly pose with medals and the trophy. Checking his system, however, Lin Zicken notices his rival count is only 161,000. He feels disappointed. At this rate, it will take years to unlock the natural selection attribute. Despite this slow progress, there's a silver lining. Coach Gu generously awards him the bulk of the tournament prize money, a full 20,000 yuan. Combining this with his academic competition winnings, he now has roughly 30,000 yuan. He immediately spends it all at the supermarket on a massive supply of ghost shadow squid meat. Over the following weeks, he devours the expensive meat at every meal. After consuming 30 jin, his codex progress for the ghost shadow squid reaches 33%. The combination of intensive training and steady consumption of beast meat pays off. By his second year of middle school, Lin Zicken breaks through to the next tier, advancing from ordinary tier 3 to tier 4. His physical abilities skyrocket. He can now effortlessly lift 1,890 kilograms with one hand, jump 5.65 meters vertically, and sprint 100 meters in just 49 seconds. Time flies, and soon Lin Zicken and Shinxin Han graduate from Shanghai's middle school division. But when the high school entrance exam results are released, their paths seem destined to diverge. Heartbroken, Shinxin Han sits in her room, crying. She asks Lin Zicken why, wondering how their hard work couldn't keep them in the same high school. He explains that while he ranked first in both liberal arts and martial arts, and her academic scores were excellent, her martial arts score wasn't high enough for the elite class at Shanghai High. Shinxin Han tearfully asks what will happen now. Lin Zicken reassures her that the principal of Shanghai High is coming to his house, likely to recruit him, and asks if she will come with him. Feeling hopeless, she responds that it has nothing to do with her, as the principal is obviously only coming for him. Taking her hand, Lin Zicken pulls her up and leads her out of the room, telling her not to worry. He has a plan. He reveals his one condition for staying at Shanghai High. Shinxin Han must be his desk mate. As promised, the principal visits Lin Zicken's home. She, his mother, and Shinxin Han discuss his future for several hours. The principal emphasizes how much she wants him to stay at her school. As the meeting concludes, the principal stands to leave and offers one final concession. If Lin Zicken agrees to stay, he can make any request. Seizing the opportunity, Lin Zicken states his condition. Shinxin Han must be allowed to remain in the same class with him. The principal glances at the nervous Shinxin Han, confirms her name, and without hesitation agrees. She smiles and tells them both to report to Shanghai High together for the new school year. Overjoyed, Lin Zicken and Shinxin Han thank her. With their high school future secured, Lin Zicken participates in his final junior high martial arts tournament. As expected, his overwhelming power carries his team to another decisive championship victory. Lin Zicken decides to use his prize money to finally unlock the Ghost Shadow Squid Codex. He was only 20% away, and the new winnings were more than enough to max out the progress bar. Unsure of what might happen, he travels to a secluded forest outside Shanghai for safety. Wasting no time, he begins devouring the remaining squid meat, drawing in its life essence. A powerful blue energy envelopes him, and a system notification confirms that he is absorbing a large amount of essence. His eyes widen as a final surge of power courses through him, and the Codex progress bar hits 100%. Another notification appears. Ghost Shadow Squid Codex unlocked. New biological attribute acquired. Blessing of Liquid Affinity. The ability enhances his connection with water, allowing him to move freely in aquatic environments and even vanish underwater. Yet, standing in the quiet forest clutching the limp squid tentacles, he can't help feeling the new power is somewhat underwhelming. Still, he decides to test his ability in a nearby pond. He quickly notices benefits. He can remain submerged for long periods without his skin wrinkling, and swimming feels smoother, with significantly reduced water resistance. Beyond that, nothing extraordinary happens. He rationalizes that, since the Ghost Shadow Squid is a low-tier beast, it's fair that its associated attribute isn't overwhelmingly powerful. Resolving to obtain stronger abilities, Lin Zicken decides he will either save up for higher-grade beast meat or grow strong enough to hunt powerful wild mutants himself. Memories of the terrifying giant mutant rats strengthen his resolve, and he clenches his fist, determined to grow stronger. With less than a week before school begins, Lin Zikin's mother and Shin Han's family plan a trip to help him better study his new liquid affinity. Lin Zikin suggests the beach. As they stand in the ocean, Shin Han shivers and complains about the cold water. Lindekin, in contrast, feels perfectly at home. Ease into it, he tells her, then dives into the water, swimming with incredible speed. Each stroke and dive earns him system stat points for swimming and diving. From the shore, a nervous Shin Han calls out, asking him to teach her how to swim. Lin Zikin suddenly remembers that his childhood friend never learned. He begins patiently guiding her through the basics. Given her average athleticism, he assumes she'll struggle, yet she surprises him. Excitedly, she exclaims that swimming feels surprisingly easy, diving effortlessly. She moves gracefully, surfacing with a shocked expression. To Lin Zikin's astonishment, a strange blue aura of water seems to emanate from her as she swims. It's amazing, she says. Normally, opening your eyes underwater stings, but not this time. It feels cool and pleasant. Her words leave Lin Zikin deep in thought. Watching her swim, he senses something unusual. Even accounting for natural talent, there's no way she could have mastered everything so quickly. Her rapid learning is far from normal. Suddenly, realization hits him. He recalls her lifelong bedwetting problem, her inability to control herself when nervous. Could this weakness actually be a sign of a powerful, innate water affinity she was born with? Excitement surges through him. He becomes convinced she might possess a special cultivation body, akin to the powerful figures from his parents' novels. To test his theory, they continue diving. Shin Han's performance shocks him further as they explore the underwater world. They have been holding their breath for over 10 minutes, and Lin Zikin watches, increasingly certain that her potential is extraordinary. An incredible feat for a beginner like Shin Han. As they swim, her expression suddenly shifts. A strange, swirling sound vibrates through the water around her. Both of them look up, trying to locate the source. They surface abruptly, and Shin Han cries out as the glowing blue water seems to twist and churn around her. Later that night, walking along the beach, Lin Zikin asks what happened. Shivering, she explains that underwater, she kept hearing strange, eerie sounds right by her ear. He comforts her and asks for details. She explains that she couldn't understand the language. It was a female voice, echoing continuously until she surfaced. To help calm her, Lin Zikin takes her back to their hotel room. Later, he searches online for any information about the mysterious voice, but finds nothing. Unsettled and restless, he channels his energy into training. Performing 1,000 weighted sit-ups, he suddenly feels a surge of power. A system notification appears. Hard work has paid off. Lin Zikin has advanced to ordinary tier 5. Surprised but pleased, he considers his new strength. At tier 5, he is now powerful enough to rival a fully grown giant mutant rat. A determined glint lights his eyes as he clenches his fist, confident that tearing such beasts apart with his bare hands is no longer impossible. Eager to test his limits, he heads to the empty beach at night. The stat boosts are immense. His 100-meter dash time drops to a blistering 3.64 seconds, and his vertical jump soars to an incredible 6.98 meters. To test his raw power, he finds a nearby car and discovers he can now lift the 1,600 kilograms vehicle with one hand. With this new progress, his life continues moving forward. The vacation ends, and he and Shin Han begin high school at Shanghai High. On the first day, they arrive early for class duty. Two female classmates immediately recognize him, whispering excitedly about how handsome he is and how lucky they are to be on duty with him. Lin Zikin is surprised that word of his feats has already spread. Even more unexpectedly, simply performing class duty triggers a new system quest. The achievement requires completing 1,000 cooperative tasks for a new biological attribute, social animal. As he cleans the classroom with Shin Han, he wonders what this new attribute might do. Since the school year has just begun, he takes the opportunity to visit the mammoth supermarket after class. Now that he has unlocked the Ghost Shadow Squid Codex, he knows it's time to select a new target. As he browses the expensive beast meat section, his eyes lock onto a new prize. In a refrigerated case sits the packaged head of a savage giant eagle, priced at 1,998 yuan per gene. An eager grin spreads across his face. This will be his next target. The savage giant eagle is a higher-tier aberrant beast than the Ghost Shadow Squid, with extraordinarily sharp vision, 30 times stronger than in normal humans, making it a deadly hunter capable of capturing even the fastest prey. Back in his room, Lin Zikin examines the eagle meat. Unlocking its guidebook promises a massive combat advantage, thanks to its enhanced vision. He notes the price is relatively affordable and places his hand on the meat. Blue energy surrounds him as a system notification confirms he has devoured a trace of the savage giant eagle's life essence, unlocking 1% of its guidebook. After calculating, he realizes that since 1 gene of meat provides only 1% progress, he would need to spend over 200,000 yuan to fully unlock the guidebook. Understanding that high school tournament prize money is much higher than in middle school, he resolves to work harder in competitions to earn the funds and unlock the Savage Giant Eagle Codex before his second year. With the end of summer vacation, Lin Zikin's high school life at Shanghai High begins. On the first day, the teachers introduce themselves: the martial arts and homeroom teacher, the mechanical modification instructor, the gene fusion teacher, and the wilderness survival instructor. After the introductions, students are asked to present themselves. Several go first. A girl with long purple hair, Chu Yutong, shares that her specialty is in the arts. She is followed by the energetic pink-haired girl, Zhang Yi, who loves anime, cosplay, and sports. Next, a boy named Peng Hua Guang talks about his passion for video games at home. Soon, it is Shun Qing Han's turn. Being the center of attention makes Shun Qing Han extremely nervous. With a blushing face, she manages to introduce herself, saying her name is Shun Qing Han, that she enjoys drawing, and politely asking everyone for their guidance. Finally, it is Lin Zikin's turn. His introduction is short and direct. He simply states his name and asks for everyone's support. Time passes quickly after introductions. A new female classmate with brown hair approaches Shun Qing Han, catching her by surprise. The girl asks about her entrance exam score. Shun Qing Han nervously replies that she scored 709 points, then politely asks Chu Rue for her score. Chu Rue, impressed, exclaims that Shun Qing Han's score is over 10 points higher than her own, 698. Curious, Chu Rue asks about the physical fitness portion. Admitting she only scored 95 out of 100, Chu Rue's question makes Shun Qing Han extremely uncomfortable. She stammers, internally panicking, because her own score of 79 was nearly low enough to prevent her entry into the elite class. Embarrassed, she struggles to respond. Not picking up the hints, the persistent Chu Rue continues to guess, asking if Shun Qing Han scored 94 or 93. Shun Qing Han, looking down in shame, quietly admits it was even lower. Chu Rue continues guessing scores in the low 90s, leaving Shun Qing Han even more flustered. Suddenly, a hand slams down on the desk between them, startling Chu Rue. It is Lin Zikin. He leans in smoothly and asks the flustered girl if he can add her on WeChat. Surprised and thrilled that such a handsome boy is paying attention to her, she eagerly agrees. From her seat, Shun Qing Han breathes a sigh of relief, grateful that Lin Zikin saved her from the awkward conversation. Lin Zikin then turns to another male classmate, Hiyu, and asks to exchange contact information as well. After adding them, he creates a 4-person group chat. A system notification immediately confirms the creation of the group, completing another cooperative task. His progress toward the social animal achievement is now 2 out of 1,000. He reflects that this quest seems surprisingly easy. After creating the group, the 4 new friends begin getting to know each other. Lin Zikin reveals he is from neighboring Nuan City and comes from a prestigious martial arts family that runs a dojo. He proudly mentions placing 8th in the Nuan City Youth Martial Arts Competition. Chu Rue shares that her family owns a chain of clothing stores, giving her wealth. As Lin Zikin and Shun Qing Han share their backgrounds, The group quickly becomes close-knit. As they grow comfortable, Hyu asks the others to guess who the strongest student in the class is. Chu Rue immediately points to Lin Zikin, guessing it must be him since he topped the entrance exam for the entire district. This shocks Hyu, who had no idea his new friend was so accomplished. Lin Zikin humbly suggests that being the top scorer doesn't necessarily make someone the strongest. He reveals that the principal spent a significant sum to recruit two exceptionally powerful students from Wuhan City for their class. He points them out. The first is Wang Shuyer, a blonde boy ranked 3rd in Wuhan City, who can sprint 100 meters in 7.98 seconds. The second is Lu Gang, a large, muscular boy with immense natural strength, able to lift a 300 kilograms barbell with one hand. Shinxing Han and Hyu are visibly impressed and intimidated. Lin Zikin, however, remains calm, internally scoffing at their feats, knowing he surpassed those numbers back in elementary school. Soon, the bell rings and the next class begins, textbook distribution. The semester features 4 main subjects: martial arts, gene fusion, mechanical modification, and wilderness survival. Since Lin Zikin had already self-studied all the material, he decides to use the free time to find a secluded spot to train. As he trains, his thoughts turn to the larger threats outside school. He recalls that the dangerous rat god cult is still active. The police have captured only lower-level heretics, while the powerful Rat King remains at large. This grim reality fuels his determination. Clenching his fist, he resolves to increase his power as quickly as possible, aiming to reach at least Tier 6, a level he believes is strong enough to confront even the Rat King. The first practical class is Wilderness Survival. Teacher Shi Changbi gathers the students in a wooded area and asks if anyone knows how to make a fire by drilling wood. Hyu mutters, "It's a useless skill." To everyone's surprise, both Wang Shuo and Lu Gang step forward and successfully start fires using the primitive method. The teacher is impressed and asks how they learned. Lu Gang explains he learned at summer camp, while Wang Shuo claims he taught himself by watching videos online. After observing, Lin Zikin easily teaches the same technique to his small group. They quickly master it under his guidance. Later, in martial arts class, teacher Yao Yuanfang announces that he will teach a special breathing and cultivation technique. Once again, Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang loudly declare that they have already mastered the technique, showing off for the class. Though their demonstration is slightly clumsy, they manage to perform it successfully. Lin Zikin, who already knows the skills perfectly, decides to keep a low profile and not show off. A month passes uneventfully. One day, in mechanical modification class, teacher Kayufi announces a progress test and, to motivate the students, reveals cash prizes for the top 3. 888 yuan for first, 666 for second, and 333 for third. Lin Zikin's eyes light up at the mention of the prize money. Realizing that the first-place reward is almost enough to buy half a gene of the expensive savage giant eagle meat, he grows even more determined. With everyone motivated, the class begins the exam. Coincidentally, the gene fusion teacher, Lu Durin, also surprises the students with a test featuring the same prize structure. After enduring both difficult exams, the students are completely drained. Hyu collapses onto his desk, groaning, while others complain about the difficulty. One girl laments that she had hoped for a 90, but would be lucky to pass with 60. Meanwhile, Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang casually brag about their performance. Hyu asks Wang Shuyer how he did. Confidently, Wang replies that he expects a 95, having struggled only on the last part of the final question. Lu Gang nonchalantly agrees, also expecting a 95. Hyu, listening to their arrogance, clenches his fists in fury, thinking about how badly he wants to punch them. Teacher Fury announces the mechanical modification test results. Guan Ling scored 52 points, while Shinxing Han passed with 61. Excited, she tells Lin Zikin she passed, and he congratulates her on her hard work. The teacher continues. Hyu scored an impressive 88 points. His friends praise him, and he humbly replies that he was just lucky, promising to treat them to a meal with his 333 yuan third-place prize. Next, The teacher confirms that Lu Gang and Wang Shuyer both scored 95, as they predicted. He compliments them for being just one question away from a perfect score. Wang Shuyer confidently claims that with 10 more minutes, he could have solved the final problem, and Lu Gang agrees. Hiyu, frustrated by their bragging, comforts himself with the thought that third place is still his. Then comes the shocking announcement. Despite the difficulty of the exam, one student achieved a perfect score. Lin Zikin with 100 points. Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang are stunned, shouting, "The result is absurd." The rest of the class erupts in cheers. Even a defeated Hiyu joins in, recognizing that Lin Zikin is on a completely different level. Shinxing Han and Chu Rui celebrate his victory as the glory of Shanghai. Ignoring the praise, Lin Zikin focuses on the prize. He raises his hand and asks Teacher Fei when the 888 yuan first-place reward will be distributed. The teacher promises it will be sent later, inwardly finding Lin Zikin's intense focus on money strange. An hour later, the results of the Gene Fusion exam are announced. This time, the Nuan City duo underperforms. Lu Gang scores 81, and Wang Shuyer 83, still good, but clearly disappointing. Shinxing Han achieves an excellent 78, placing her in the top 5 and celebrating with Chu Rui. To the shock of his classmates, Lin Zikin once again secures a perfect score, effortlessly winning another prize. This second crushing victory deals a huge blow to the confidence of Hiyu, Wang Shuyer, and Lu Gang, leaving them demoralized. Unable to accept defeat, Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang question how anyone could achieve full marks on such a difficult test, suggesting that Lin Zikin must have known the answers in advance. Teacher Kai Yuan Fieri immediately shuts down their accusation, stating firmly that it is impossible. He explains that he personally designed every question and that the answers are not available online, making cheating impossible. Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang are left speechless. Their classmates are not so kind. Hiyu and Chu Rui laugh, mocking Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang for being sore losers. Hiyu calls them a disgrace to Nuan City, and Chu Rui adds that uncultured, ugly people always cause the most trouble. After lunch, the practical exam for wilderness survival begins. Teacher Shi Bei explains the rewards, the same cash prizes for the top 3. The exam consists of 3 parts: climbing, swimming, and making fire by friction. Having been soundly defeated in the academic tests, Wang Shuyer turned to Lu Gang, glaring fiercely. "We have to redeem ourselves in the practical exams." Lu Gang nodded, equally determined. "Yes, this time we'll crush Lin Zikin and wipe away our shame." The first event began, climbing, where speed determined the winner. As expected, Lin Zikin's superior physical abilities allowed him to dominate effortlessly. He scaled the rock wall with astonishing speed, leaving the Nuan City duo far behind to claim first place. The tree climbing event ended the same way. Lin Zikin once again took first, while a frustrated Wang Shuyer complained that he couldn't even see his shadow. Though Lin Zikin excelled, his attention remained on Shinxing Han. As he had anticipated, she struggled with climbing, finishing last. Still, he was confident. Her true talent lay in water, and he knew she would regain her confidence during the swimming segment. Next was the fire-starting segment. Eyes on the prize money, Lin Zikin concentrated intensely. His hands moved with lightning speed, and he successfully created a fire in just 58 seconds. Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang watched in disbelief, astounded by his insane efficiency and dexterity. Finally, the swimming portion began. This was Shinxing Han's moment to shine. Tapping into her natural affinity for water, she moved with explosive speed, easily surpassing the Nuan City duo. Wang Shuyer stared in disbelief, convinced he must be hallucinating at the sight of her sudden power. Shinxing Han's victory delivered another crushing blow to their confidence. After the exam, a stunned Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang remained silent for a long time. However, their silence lasted only until lunch. In the afternoon, the final exam for martial arts began. Teacher Yao Yuanfang announced that sparring competitions would determine the top 3 prize winners. For Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang, hope surged. Martial arts, after all, emphasize combat technique and physical prowess. They convinced themselves that if Lin Zikin lacked martial arts skill, his prior victories were meaningless. Before sparring, the teacher had everyone perform a physical test as a warm-up, a 100-meter sprint, a one-hand barbell lift, and a vertical jump. Lin Zikin, holding back slightly to avoid being flashy, still delivered an astonishing performance. He ran 100 meters in 7.78 seconds, lifted a 330 kilograms barbell with one hand, and leapt 18 meters vertically, securing first place in all three events, just slightly ahead of the Manhwa City duo. They were left in complete shock. Wang Shuyer struggled to comprehend Lin Zikin's speed, while Lu Gang was baffled by his strength despite not appearing muscular. Trying to rally, Wang Shuyer reminded Lu Gang that real combat also required technique, and failing the physical test didn't guarantee defeat. The two clung to the hope that their superior technique could still turn the tide. After the warm-up, the class moved to the dueling area for the sparring matches. Lin Zikin, eager to complete his survival of the fittest achievement, stepped into the ring first. But after his overwhelming display, no one dared to challenge him, not even Wang Shuyer or Lu Gang. Seeing the stalemate, teacher Yao intervened, calling a student named Louis to spar with Lin Zikin. The match was over almost before it began. To save time, Lin Zikin ended it instantly with a single devastating punch that sent Louis flying. He then moved through the rest of the opponents with the same brutal efficiency, quickly defeating every student in the class. Wang Shuyer and Lu Gang watched in utter despair. Wang Shuyer realized, with horror, that Lin Zikin was far stronger than they had imagined, and probably hadn't even gone all out during the physical test. He wondered how anyone could possibly compete with such a monster. Just as their spirits hit rock bottom, Hiyu suddenly leaped into the ring, shouting Lu Gang's name. Hiyu points at Lu Gang, declaring he's warmed up and at his peak, and challenges him to a fight, eager to vent his frustration. Lu Gang readily accepts, reasoning that while he might not stand a chance against Lin Zikin, defeating Hiyu would be easy. He vows to flatten Hiyu in 30 seconds. With a battle cry, Hiyu rushes forward, and the two clash in a flurry of strikes. Yet the fight is quickly decided by the clear gap in their power. Lu Gang easily catches Hiyu's kick, uses his superior strength to swing him around, and hurls him out of the ring. Hiyu crashes hard, defeated and vomiting. Standing victorious, Lu Gang looks down at his fallen classmate, offering a backhanded compliment. "Your technique is the best in the class," he says smugly, "but I'm still better." No sooner has he celebrated than Lin Zikin approaches, calmly issuing a challenge to spar. Seeing this as a perfect opportunity to advance his survival of the fittest achievement, Lin Zikin's focus is unwavering. Fresh off his win, Lu Gang smirks confidently and accepts, declaring he is unafraid. Lu Gang launches a powerful punch immediately, but the gap between them is glaringly obvious. Lin Zikin moves with blinding speed, effortlessly dodging the attack and leaving afterimages behind. Before Lu Gang can even react, Lin Zikin counters with a swift kick that connects squarely with his back, sending him flying out of the ring in defeat with a single blow. With both members of the Manhwa City duo utterly defeated, the remaining students begin to taunt the last one standing. They shout at Wang Shuyer, asking if he'll avenge his fallen friends and telling him that the pride of Manhwa City now rests entirely on his shoulders. They jeer, daring him not to chicken out. Annoyed, Wang Shuyer snaps at the crowd to shut up, claiming he was already planning to fight. He rushes into the ring to face Lin Zikin. Standing before his overwhelmingly powerful opponent, he steels his resolve, telling himself that what is meant to come will come, and he must find a way to win. Determined, Wang Shuyer shouts that he's going all out and launches a furious attack. Yet his effort is futile. Lin Zikin effortlessly blocks the punch with one hand, then counters with a single devastating blow that sends Wang Shuyer flying upside down. He crashes hard onto the gym floor, knocked out and foaming in the mouth, defeated as easily as everyone else. With the Manhwa City duo taken care of, Lin Zikin systematically defeats the rest of the boys in the class one by one, maintaining the same effortless efficiency. After finishing, he checks his system, According to the rules of the survival of the fittest achievement, defeating the same person multiple times counts only once. This means his only remaining opponents are the girls, and to his surprise, they're more than willing. A crowd of female classmates gathers, blushing and eagerly making heart gestures, all hoping for a chance to fight him. The first to volunteer is Chu Yu Tong, who excitedly raises her hand. She leaps into the ring and attacks with impressive speed and agility. Yet Lin Zikin, holding back significantly, easily dodges her strike. She lands gracefully, commenting on his incredible speed, but disappointed that she came so close without touching him. After Chu Yu Tong's defeat, the other girls volunteer one by one. Lin Zikin maintains a controlled approach, his main goal being to win officially without hurting anyone. Soon, he finishes sparring with all the girls in the class. While he has defeated every student, he is still far from completing his achievement task. A hint of disappointment crosses his mind, but it quickly fades when teacher Yao Yuanfang announces exciting news. Praising the class, he explains that as elite students, they must learn to challenge those above them. In 1 month, their class will spar against the strongest regular class in the second year, and he expects them to be ready. For Lin Zikin, who had been frustrated at the lack of opponents to speed up his achievement, this is perfect timing, a true blessing. After class, a newly humbled Liu Gang approaches him. He admits he had underestimated the school and declares that from now on, he will consider Lin Zikin his rival for the next 3 years. Wang Shuier also confronts him, vowing to wash away the humiliation of his defeat before graduation. Lin Zikin, however, remains focused on the practical benefits. More matches mean more progress toward completing his survival of the fittest achievement within a year. He calculates that he has earned over 3,000 yuan from the exam prizes alone. The thought excites him. Now he has enough to buy more beast meat. He clenches his fist, completely ignoring the Nuan City duo, who were left fuming at his arrogant dismissal. That night, back in his room, Lin Zikin considers his financial situation. Although the prize money is helpful, it's still far from enough to purchase all the beast meat he needs. Determined to earn more, he decides to follow in his parents' footsteps and register as a web novel author, embarking on his writing journey. Thanks to his celestial root of wisdom, his writing is exceptional. The next morning, he finds a contract invitation from the UN platform waiting in his messages. After signing, a news report catches his attention, a terrifying incident that had occurred just 2 hours prior. A giant mutant rat had attacked a frozen meat cold storage facility on the outskirts of the city. The report describes the monstrous creature, over 5 meters long, biting a responding cyborg in half. In a desperate act, the cyborg activated a hidden backup energy core to self-destruct, obliterating the rat in a massive explosion. Lin Zikin stares at the horrifying image of the giant mutant rat, a chill running down his spine. He wonders how many more such beasts could be lurking in Shanghai and where they might be hiding. The day of the sparring session against the strongest regular class of the second year arrives, and the students gather at the Shanghai High Gymnasium. Before the matches begin, teacher Yao Yuanfang holds a strategy meeting with the top fighters. He warns them that while their elite class has strong top fighters, the opposing class is stronger overall and will likely use defensive tactics to wear them down. He orders that the fights be finished as quickly as possible. As soon as the meeting ends, Lin Zikin rushes toward the ring, eager to defeat as many new opponents as possible to progress his survival of the fittest achievement. He volunteers to go first. A tall girl with long blonde hair from the second-year class steps into the ring. Seeing Lin Zikin, she immediately protests to her teacher, claiming that the elite class had sent their strongest fighter first. She insists she is the weakest student in her class and questions how she is supposed to face him. Teacher Yao Yuanfang storms over to the opposing teacher, an older man he calls Brother Fun. He angrily accuses him of breaking the unspoken rules of class sparring, which dictate that the weakest students should fight first. He demands an explanation for why the strongest student was sent out first. To settle the dispute, teacher Yao orders Lin Zikin down from the stage. He tells him to let the weaker students go first and assures him that he can fight later. Lin Zikin reluctantly agrees and steps down. The teacher then points to Zhang Yijia and instructs her to go first. She is caught off guard and protests that she isn't ready. Seeing the hesitation, Shining Han steps forward. She volunteers to fight, telling teacher Yao that, as the weakest, she should go first. Shining Han nervously enters the ring to face the tall blonde girl, clearly intimidated. From the sidelines, her classmates, including Chu Ruwei and Hai Yu, begin cheering loudly, shouting encouragement. But the sudden pressure only heightens her nervousness. The match begins. The blonde girl immediately attacks with a powerful punch, which Shining Han barely manages to block. Though clearly outmatched, Shining Han is determined. She knows she can't win, but resolves to hold on as long as possible, adopting a purely defensive strategy designed to drain her opponent's stamina. Her plan proves surprisingly effective. 3 minutes later, the blonde girl is already breathing heavily. Surprised by Shining Han's endurance, the blonde senior realizes that if the fight continues, she will run out of stamina. Determined to finish quickly, she rushes forward with a final decisive punch. The blow lands, knocking Shining Han to the ground in defeat. As she gets back on her feet, Shining Han is visibly embarrassed. Teacher Yao Yuanfang steps forward and praises her performance, giving a thumbs up. He commends her defensive strategy, telling her it was very smart. Lin Zikin also comforts her, patting her head gently. He explains that lasting over 3 minutes against a senior with an extra year of training is a huge accomplishment, and she has made significant progress. Reassured, Shining Han looks up at him with a happy smile. Following Shining Han's defeat, another female classmate with brown hair from the elite class steps into the ring. She sees her senior opponent running low on stamina from the previous match and decides to seize the opportunity. She launches a powerful kick, but the senior easily dodges and counters with a swift punch to the face. The brown-haired girl is quickly overpowered, pinned to the ground, crying out in pain, and forced to surrender. Standing over her defeated opponent, the senior mockingly asks if she had underestimated the regular class by charging in so recklessly. She continues to taunt her, pointing out that while the girl may not have her talent, she has had a full year of training longer. She dismisses her, telling her to return after another year of practice. Just then, Chu Ruwei steps forward, determination blazing in her eyes. She declares that she will avenge Shining Han and crush the senior.